Okay, we're going to do percent equation markups today, so make sure you have these colorful notes in front of you. Put your name at the top, and please, whatever I write, you should be writing. I purposely colored these in I copied these in color so that it looked a little bit more interesting. And I want you to always remember this picture. Notice all of the arrows are going up. A markup means that we are adding to the original. You just did discounts. Discounts takes away from the original. Markups means we're adding to the original. And the most common form of a markup is a tax, a raise. If you go out to eat and you leave a tip, that's a markup. So tax is a percentage added on to the price of the item that is paid. So that's what's frustrating when you go shopping and you pick up a shirt that's $20. You're not paying $20, you're paying $20 plus tax. So let's just review a little bit. If there is a 6% tax added to the cost of an item, what percent will you now have to pay? I want you to remember, if you're paying full price for something, you're paying 100%. Plus, you're paying another 6%. So what percent is that? You are paying 106%. Just as a little practice, how would I take 106% and change it to a decimal? If you remember, you can put it on your calculator. If you don't know how to do it, you're just taking the decimal that's at the end, whoops, and moving it 2 places to the left, so it's 1.06. If you get a 10% raise, what percent of your original salary do you now make? Well, you were making 100% of your salary. Now you're going to get another 10%. The total there is 110%. Let's practice again. If you have 110%, how would I write that as a decimal? I'll show you another thing to review. It means 110 out of 100. So you're just dividing those. When you divide those, you get 1.1. Just makes things easier if you can do that. Let's review just a wee bit before I scroll down. When we do a percent equation, it's the part equals the percent times the whole. Nothing has changed. We're still writing that every single time. But remember, you must change the percent to a decimal or fraction. The percent sign only means out of 100. That's so that we don't have to write it out of 100 every single time. But when we use the number, you have to write it as a decimal. Okay, I'm going to scroll down, make sure you have this all down. Okay, this first practice problem. It says Heather and Todd each earn $12 per hour. Okay. Heather receives a raise of 50 cents per hour and then a 10% raise. Todd receives a 10% raise, followed by the raise of 50 cents per hour. So really, it looks like they're going to get the same amount of money. But the question says, how much more does Heather earn per hour? That's because her 10% raise was added on after her increase. So let's start with percent equals equals percent. Oh my gosh. Scratch that. Part equals percent times the whole. No wonder you guys are confused. I can't even write the percent equation. So if this is Heather, and Heather was earning $12 an hour, but she's added on to that her 50-cent raise, the new whole is $12.50. She's getting a 10% raise. Well, she was making 100% plus her 10% raise. That gives us a total of 110%, which as a decimal is 1.1. In the parentheses, put 1.1. That's our percent we're working with. And if you multiply those things together, you should get $13.75. That's how much Heather is now earning. Okay, change my color here so you can see Todd's. This is Todd. And I'm still going to write part equals percent times the whole. You need to write it too, you know that. So the part is the percent which is 10%. Now we're going to use the same 1.1 because he's getting 100% of his salary plus another 10% more. So it's 1.1 times the whole, which in this case, he's still earning only $12 an hour. When I get done with that, I should get $13.20. But now he gets a 50-cent raise. He is now earning $13.70. It's not a huge difference, but Heather is making more by how much? 5 cents. The reason I know that is because I subtract $13.75 and $13.70, and the answer here is 5 cents. Make sure you have that. I'm going to go on to the next one. Okay, when we look at this problem, it says Mr. Sanchez bought 2 magazines for $9.95 each. That's key. The 2 magazines didn't come to $9.95, they were each $9.95. He also bought a book for $14.95. The sales tax is 6%. What's the total cost of Mr. Sanchez's purchases? Before we can do this, we have to find out what his total was. So let's add up all the things he purchased. He paid $14.95 for a book. He paid $9.95 and another, oops, that's $9.95, and another $9.95 for 2 magazines. Go ahead and add those up. If you have a calculator, feel free to use it. I got $34.85. I hope I added that correctly. Now I'm going to use my percent equation. Part equals percent times the whole. Okay, let's work with what we have. Part equals, okay, the percent. If he paid 100% for his books and magazine, and we're adding 6% tax, this is like the one we did on the front side, this comes to 106%, which is the same thing as 1.06. So that's what we're going to use for our percent, 1.06. And his whole is the amount he paid at the bookstore, which is $34.85. When I get done multiplying those 2 items together, I find out that he has to now pay $36.94. That answer is letter D. Make sure you have all this. I'm going to scroll down. Last one together today. The Smith family went out to dinner. The price of their meal was $29.85. The sales tax was 6%. And then they paid a tip that was 15%. Now this part is tricky. Usually you leave the tip on the meal price, but in this problem it says very clearly the tip was 15% of the meal and the sales tax. So we're going to do this step by step. We're going to find 6% for the tax and then find 15% of that for the tip. Don't forget, here's our percent equation. So we have part, and I write it every single time. It just helps me identify what I need here. So for this first problem, the sales tax is 6%. And this should be getting old hat to you. 6% is 106%, which is 1.06. The whole amount was $29.85. That means the meal and the taxes came to $31.64. Oops, 64 cents. Now we're going to do this all again, and I'm going to change the color of my marker. We have to find now the tip. So it's part equals percent times the whole. Part equals, now this time it's 15% extra. So remember, you were paying 100% plus 15% more. That gives us 115%, which is 1.15. So if I do 1.15 multiplied by my new price here, which is $31.64, my part now, or the total bill, is $36.39, which looks like letter B. Okay, hopefully you've got all this down. There are some practice problems on the other sheet, and there's a video for you to get support if you need it. But for right now, this video is over.